The following is a presentation of The Day.
A cold, raw spring afternoon at Palmer Field on the campus of Stonington High School can only mean one thing. It's time for spring sports in Connecticut. In particular, it's boys lacrosse action live from Stonington High School as the St. Bernard Wheeler Co-op Saints come here to Stonington High School to take on the home Bears, and all the action is live on game day. Casey O'Neill, along with the coach, Dave Cornell, the former Connecticut College head coach and avid Eastern Connecticut lacrosse, we'll call you persona, as you are plugged into the Eastern Connecticut lacrosse scene, and as a well-known coach in the area, you know a lot of these kids and what we should expect today. And welcome, and thank you for joining us today on game day.
Thanks, Casey. Really excited to be here and excited for this game. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Second game of the season for both teams, coming off losses, and excited to see what happens here.
First face-off was McCusker for St. Bernard, and middle of the field ball loose, possession controlled by Stonington. So Stonington in the home white with the nearly impossible gold numbers will be on the attack, and a quick turnover. And the Saints in the road red with the white numbers will have it on the far side.
Yeah, so immediately St. Bernard's coming out and pressuring the ball. They're known for their zone, but came out pressuring early here today.
Now St. Bernard has a player that we definitely want to keep an eye on, number 21, senior Mark Sawchuk. He is an outstanding player and will probably bear a lot of the responsibility on the offensive side of things for the Saints.
And then here's the guy for Stonington right here, Kyle Olson. Excellent player, only a sophomore, but tons of upside.
And it got a really creative shot over the back shoulder, but the save made by Zach Huber, the St. Bernard keeper. Johannes Zach Huber, the senior, is a solid guy back there for the Saints. Both keepers today we'll keep our eyes on. Both teams know that if they're going to stay in games this year, it's going to start pipes out the keeper and the defensive lines for both teams. Whistle, and it'll be turned over here, and Stonington will have possession back at about the third mark on the 30. And you're right about St. Bernard's here, much more physical in the early going.
Yeah, they're really pressuring out there. They tend to be a zone team. They're pressuring out. I think they're trying to figure out ways to manufacture goals. I think both teams coming into the season have question marks at the face-off X. And they're trying to figure out ways they can manufacture goals here.
A whistle against the Bears. And inbounding here for the Saints and getting it started is Maddox Roan. Roan, the long stick, maintains possession here for the Saints. And he flicks on to Ben House.
I think we're seeing it early here too, Casey. The very windy day. It's a very windy field. Usually very tough to clear the ball, and possession's going to be key today. So teams are going to have to really not throw those long passes today. Shorten them up.
Sawchuk gets it in the middle. Shot goes wide, but a nice shot and a goal right off the bat. The St. Bernard Wheeler Saints jump on top. Ben House. When you want the first goal, look for the coach's kid. He knew where to be, and that was a really athletic play and high IQ play to be where he was, right in position off the missed shot from Sawchuk, and he clears it up and cleans it up 1-0 Saints.
Yeah, no question about it. Ben's a very fast kid, tough kid. He goes to the dirty play. He's not afraid to get in front of the net where you're going to take contact, but you're going to score, and he's shown that throughout his career.
What I like most about that play by House, it was, you see it, he knew to be in a position to make himself available. So, Sawchuk put the shot on goal, and House was in exactly the right spot to clean it up. Then it took a high skill play in order to get possession and put it away. But quick 1-0.
And now they put House on the wing, fast coming in to help out, right? Trying to win the face-off battle, putting speed on the wings to see if they come out and get some ground balls here. they're going to call possession, I think, Stonington on that.
Stonington will have it. Maddox Massengale on the far side, the long stick.
7.
Will get it going, and he'll play it through the keeper, Lucas Jaffin, the Stonington keeper, only a sophomore.
They're high pressure and on their ride right now. Only one guy down, but everybody else matched up and causes a turnover here.
Roan.
Maddox here too, and Roan. And sorry to cut you off there, Casey, but he has an excellent stick. I'd love to see him. He's a guy who could potentially go to the net even with the pole. So let's keep an eye on him during the day for that.
Sawchuk turns it over. Cooper Light heads down the sideline, crosses into the offensive territory now, where Stonington will try to get something manufactured here. But very physical defense from Maddox Roan as he was banging with Light. And whistle.
I think we have a timeout. I think Coach Casey called that timeout. Sent in a early part of the game here with momentum and trying to get their team in possession right now.
So early impression here, you had it spot on. St. Bernard is a notorious zone team, but they came out today man and physical, definitely pressuring Stonington. And I think maybe making Stonington a little bit uncomfortable in the early going. And you talked about when a team is unsure of where its goals are coming from and how it's going to generate an offense, having to make decisions with the ball early seems like a good strategy for St. Bernard.
No doubt about it. And there's another piece of this too. It sounds, it's cold and windy out there. And Lacrosse, you have a guy coming around with a 6-foot stick slashing it. You might not want the ball that much. And these guys are double teaming. They're all over right now early. So going to be curious to see what Coach calls coming out of the timeout here and see how Stonington handles this and see if the pressure maintains here for St. Bernard's or if they go into their zone. 7?
It's a great point about the weather, because there is a level of, everybody out there is tough, but then there's that next level of toughness where you have to, want that contact.
Right.
You have to really want it, because it's easy to shy away from contact in this cold weather. Stonington up top, and we'll go through an offensive set. Griscom with the possession. And a wild pass over the top, sails over the head of Light, but he maintains possession. Pressured, and he loses his stick. What a nice check there, a hit on the far side. That was Bodie Brennick.
Here's the guy. He can get to the middle, man.
Shot goes low and wide from Olsen, but you can see that Olsen has that sort of understanding of how to get into an open space and get a shot off quickly, which he did there. And it looks like possession will stay with Stonington.
No question. That's a dangerous spot for Kyle to be in, that top left spot. He's a righty, loves to get across the middle, that's where you try to teach your guys to dodge, to increase the angle in your shot, and he can get there.
Actually, the Saints will have it. Luke Noonan, long stick, making a little run, throwing it back through the defensive side of things now. And Brennick. So the two long sticks engaging with each other. It's a little long stick party here. Turnover coming the other way is Light. And they're getting that. St. Bernard's is very quick on the contact. Coming in the other direction now. Up front, beautiful pass. Oh, I don't know if that went off the pipe or off the keeper, but a beautiful save made in goal by Jaffin.
Somebody's got a stop ball here.
Here comes Sawchuk, pass in the middle, wide as he found James Niles, and give Sawchuk credit. I think everybody thought he was going to shoot that, and a beautiful pass to his teammate in front. Howes avoids contact, back to Sawchuk. Sawchuk absorbing contact, out wide, and trying to play back behind the net to Stebbins.
What's going up? Yeah, Stonington comes out in man, and interesting, trying to figure out if they're trying to slide adjacent from the perimeter, if they're coming from the man, but if they're coming from the crease, pardon me. But St. Bernard's pulled their crease guy off, so they had to come from the adjacent person on that.
Run by Olsen in the middle, and he loses possession on a nice check from Brennick into the hands, or into the stick of Galeese, and Stonington will have its possession. And again, Macklin Griscom will have the ball, looking to make a little run.
Slides coming from the crease here.
Stonington, a little out of sorts right now, not crisp in the passing. Ripped shot and a goal! Beautiful shot and goal from Cole Scahill, and the Bears have tied us up at 1.
Yeah, tremendous play there to pick it up, and it may have been Kyle. I couldn't tell who it was there, to be honest with you, Case. You may be right on who that was, but in any event, tough play on the ground ball to pick it up. I'm very impressed with St. B's athleticism with their poles, but tough play right there to pick it up and get it back in the game here for Stonington.
Face-off controlled by St. Bernard's. Give that win to McCusker. Back behind the net is Howes. Stebbins to Sawchuk.
You got a short stick up top here. They got to switch now to get the pole on 21.
Howes drifting, waiting for the Stonington player to commit. Lost in front. Picked up by Jaffin. It's okay I don't have a problem blaming. I'll just blame Stonington. If the goal was
it's very
Olsen,
hard to see, man.
I'll just say 8 and 6 look way too close with the yellow numbers.
Very hard to see.
I don't have a problem with that. I'm completely okay throwing blame on Stonington.
I didn't even see the number. I just recognized his body type.
Well, if you look at Scahill, he and Olsen are similarly built, but I think Olsen, based on what we know, is likely to have been involved as well. You see him camped out right now in front, and I defy anyone to notice the difference between the 6 and the 8.
Here he's a big lefty right here. He's strong, man. Oh,
well defended. Ethan Green has good size back there.
Yeah, Christina, the lefty, he played some midi in the past, but he's playing that lefty attack position for Stonington. Very strong.
Whistle, and Stonington will have it back behind the net.
7.
Can be curious to see here if Stonington makes any adjustments with the clear, bring in maybe a midi down, make sure some shorter passes to get the ball in the short stick hand a little quicker.
So that is absolutely Scahill right there, number 8. Olsen heading off, number 6. So
St. Bernard's really making it difficult right now on these clears. Every pass is contested. They are pressing out on those adjacents and really making the exchanges tough. And this windy day, it's really difficult.
Zach Huber gets it off to Brennick. Now in the middle, it goes to Howes. Saints moving the ball very well through the midfield.
Howes has a short stick on him, so again, normally they're kind of leading scorer attackmen, but they brought him out of the box and they're playing him at the midfield position, and he gets matched up with short sticks at times.
Sawchuk looking for a gap, spins, brings it back to his right, goes low in front, and a goal in front by the Saints.
I think that was Niles.
James Niles, the junior, puts the Saints back on top 2-1 with just a tick under 4 minutes here in the first. And that was, again, set up by Sawchuk. He is dynamite as a playmaker. You can see why they are so dangerous. And, of course, they're without one of their leading players today. Sluggett is not in the lineup for the Saints, and he is a goal scorer. So you can imagine the difficulty that he and Sawchuk cause for opponents when they're together on the field.
Howes again off the wing on the face-off. I don't know how many. That might be his 3rd ground ball already. So good adjustment by the coaching staff. St. B's putting him on the wing, and they're coming up with possessions of the ball here.
There goes Howes. Loses it for a moment, picks it back up again, being well defended, but he sheds the defender. Now he's looking for a play in front. Shot and a save without even knowing it by Jaffin. He couldn't see the ball. Stebbins point blank in front and literally bounced it off the keeper. Sawchuk to his left, gets in front, shoots and scores! He goes top left, beats Jaffin, and it's 3-1 St. Bernard.
Yeah, so Casey, again, man-to-man defense being played by Stonington. It looks like they're a team that likes to come from the crease, and St. Bernard's is emptying the crease. They're pulling their crease guy off, and then they're dodging, and there's no help coming from the crease. They need to come from the adjacent man. He's not there, and it turns into a one-on-one.
So a 3-1 lead here in the first for the St. Bernard Saints. Face-off will happen now in front. McCusker will take the face-off. For the Saints. And we'll see who's taking the face-off for Stonington as they have rotated a few different people through. And another ground ball, this time picked up by Stonington, and a pass deflected as Olsen was trying to get it into McBain, but out of bounds it goes, and it'll stay. It'll go turn over to the Saints here as they'll play it out from behind the net.
Good look there, just couldn't connect.
So McBain for the Bears. And he'll just carry. Avoids contact in the offensive side of things here now. The Bears trying to cut into a 2-goal deficit. And I think that just got off the stick of Christina. He just switched to his right, and that thing sailed, but it'll stay with the Bears.
Yeah, right now, Stonington's really got to find where they can initiate from and try to beat somebody, or at least to draw a slide right now, because they're struggling there.
Shot low and a beautiful save going down to get it. Zach Huber, that's a high-quality save.
Yeah, he's headed to Maine Maritime to play next year. Very, very good, lanky goalie, athletic. He's excellent.
Howes getting absolutely abused in front, and the whistle comes.
Got to be a flag there, I would think. That was old school. That was some old school defense right there.
That was, he was getting pummeled 3 sticks.
That looked like Canadian box defense there, box lacrosse defense.
A long time ago, I asked about what is legal and what isn't legal, and my friend said to me, he said, whatever you can get away with, and I said that's
that's right.
For a while, they were letting it go. I think the third stick finally was enough.
The third to the jugular, they called it.
Another timeout, and we will keep it here through this timeout as we're 2:07 remaining here in the first. St. Bernard on top, 3-1. So you're looking out here. What adjustment would you like to see from Stonington, either formation, strategic, and or even from a plain effort base?
On the defensive end, there's just been a couple times where I feel like, again, that St. B's is emptying out the crease, and they're just getting a little confused. I think when there's a guy on the crease for St. Bernard's, that defenseman can show off as the one slide and the help, but they take him off, and as they take him off, then they dodge, and they're not adjusting quickly enough to recognize they need to slide from the adjacent. And there's also been a couple times where I feel like, again, you want to stop ball, which is fine, but there's been times even behind the net before, they left a guy alone all on the crease to go to a guy, to slide to a guy who's still 6'5", 6 yards below the goal line extended. The guy in the crease is way more dangerous than the guy with the ball. The guy can't score from behind the net 6 yards. You want to buy some time there for your guy to get back in the play, and I feel like there's been a couple plays like that, even transition between the restraining lines where I feel like they've jumped up field a little bit too much. Where I'd really like to see him get back in the hole and protect from the inside and buy some time for your players to get back to get back into settled defense.
I'll go sports 101 here. It applies throughout all sports, which is never let the opponent's best player beat you.
Mm-hmm.
I think Stonington's been too passive with Sawchuk.
Mm-hmm.
When I understand that Howes is an excellent player, and there's multiple guys on the Saints that can hurt you, but when I've got a player like Sawchuk, I've got to find a way to get a long stick. I've got to find a way to man him. I can't let him just kind of hang out in front and be a playmaker. He's too talented at that, and I feel like finding a way to pressure him and or to get the ball out of his off his stick as early as possible.
Yeah. I can't disagree with you on that.
B-Dog, would you like a jacket?
So man up. We'll see if they're going to try to get this to 21 get his hands free here for a shot.
There he is, and they had the long stick on him, which is good, and in front, no one sees it, and out of the pack. Stonington on the run. Galise, check that. It's Cooper Light. Cooper Light. Bears will reset.
I would like to see the ball get up top. I'd love to see them attack here early. Let's get these offensive. Love to see them get their offensive players stuck on the field for St. Bernard's if they could. They do go quickly in net, but
I can tell here in the early going, I might try to go up top against Zach Huber. He seems very comfortable, low to the ground. He gets down quickly in really good position.
Yeah, outside, I tell you, if you're shooting on him outside of 12, 15, 12 yards at this level, he's going to be a tough guy to beat. They got to find it. They got to find a way to get in close there.
I'd like to see maybe some screens, cuts in front, and try some different angles on those shots.
Definitely some off-ball seals and those sort of things if they could.
Back in the middle now, working it around. There's Sawchuk, and
there's a cut right there.
Beautiful pass and a beautiful save by Jaffin. But Sawchuk's so good at a playmaker. Give Jaffin credit. Now the run coming the other direction here by McGugan. Stonington will clean it up.
Trouble here.
Here comes Olsen, rip, and scores! Getting back into it, Kyle Olsen puts Stonington within a goal, 3-2. And that's what we talked about there in both areas. A guy getting to net, and he went high with a much more, let's call it, aggressive shot. That one was ripped.
And what I like, too, is also, as we know, that they've struggled a little bit 6-on-6 against their poles. McGugan takes the ball over. They push the ball. They push. Unsettled situation. They pick it up, and it's much easier to play offense 4-on-4 or 5-on-5 than 6-on-6 when the other team has all their set poles in and everybody that they want. An unsettled situation, and they manufactured goals. That's what you have to do. Find a way to manufacture goals.
Great battle between Cooper Light and McCusker, and Light gets the ground ball. He had it, but a beautiful job by Roan taking it away, and the Saints on the transition with 8 seconds remaining here in the period. See if the Saints will get a shot off here beforehand. Doesn't look like they will.
I don't know if they're recognizing the situation here. Yeah.
And there's the horn. We're at the end of one. It's a competitive 3-2 lead for the St. Bernard Saints over the Stonington Bears. We'll be right back. You're watching Game Day live on theday.com.
Here at Game Day, we're proud to bring you unrivaled video coverage of local high school sports. All of it free for you to watch. These videos are not free for us to produce them. If you'd like to ensure that we can keep covering your school and your teams, there's a few ways that you can support us. Hit up our merch store and pick up some game day gear in your school colors. Our camera operators are always looking for those shirts and hoodies in the crowd, and you may see yourself on our next live stream. We get a lot of support from businesses in our community, and if you'd like to join them as a sponsor, send us a message and we can connect you with our advertising staff. Finally, The Day is the organization behind everything we do here at Game Day. If you want to support The Day's community journalism, consider a print or digital subscription at theday.com/subscribe.
Second period about to come underway. The Stonington Bears have cut the lead to 3-2 on a goal from Kyle Olsen, but these Saints definitely pose a multitude of problems, not the least of which is an outstanding keeper in Zach Huber. But you mentioned, they have some tremendous length as well, and I see the long sticks for the Saints being definitely problematic.
Yeah, they're very athletic, and as you mentioned, they're long and it's just lanky guys. They're tough, and that also gives them the ability, right? They can play man or they can go to zone because it's tough to beat within the zone as well if they went to it. But if I'm them, I'm sticking with the man right now because it's given fit to Stonington. And really curious to see, if any adjustments are made. Again, changing sides of the fields right now with the wind. We're going to see if that plays anything into this right now. But Stonington doing an excellent job of hanging around in the game right now. And also very impressed with the Stonington goalie, Jaffin. He's the transfer from the Holderness School. He made a couple big saves as well here for Stonington. So
new face-off person in for the Saints. That was Niles. And face-off controlled. Howes coming in the other direction here for the Saints. Howes. And had a chance to get it across, but out of bounds. And it goes out, and Stonington's there first. So the Bears.
4.
There's McGugan.
Let's see if they can shorten these passes up right now. But again, we're just throwing into the middle here, right? That's traffic. Don't want to turn the ball over in the middle of the field. Good ground ball by Light. Get him back possession, though.
Rolling through anybody's ball. Who's going to pick the ground ball? These are the ones that determine outcomes.
Christina, the lefty, strong lefty here. I'd like to see him lower his shoulder and get to the front of the net sometimes, but he's got a good defender on him there. Noonan's a good player.
Hustling towards it, but not able to get there in time is Olsen, so the Saints will have
7 foul ball. 4.
possession from the Saints. Was thrown, but he lost it. Looks like Olsen will. Oh, red ball, so.
I think they may have called Kyle for playing the ball from out of bounds. I'm not sure. At first I thought that was going Stonington's way, but
so Sawchuk and Howes.
Again, 20's on the crease, and they're going to empty the crease out here.
You ever pick up the lacrosse stick? Does he play?
He's actually playing first year this year.
Crazy?
Back behind the net, it goes to Stebbins.
I was playing for yeah.
Swinging it across.
Yeah.
Definitely working. Looking to go outside in. Sawchuk. There goes Howes. Howes in front. Pass by Stebbins, point blank. Jaffin with the save. And a whistle for a shove.
Really good offense by St. B's right there. Great save. They got the exchange up top and the sneak from behind. Stonington's got to have their head in a swivel defensively right now. That's a couple times where they've been able to sneak some players behind the defense. They can't get caught ball watching right now.
Long pass behind the net goes to Stebbins. Stebbins makes a little run towards the goal, turns, spins, shoots, and just wide. And Stonington hustles to it, and they'll get possession.
They brought the short stick behind there, played a little big-small game, so bringing a big stick with the short stick behind and ran a little two-man game with the pick. Great chance again.
McGugan dumps it off far side, and nice run from the Bears. And out of nowhere, Cooper Light ties us at 3, and I think he got that one past Zach Huber, and he was not prepared for the shot. It came quick, and it came from a tough angle. We're tied at 3.
Yeah, Stonington doing a great job where when they get I'll tell you, their best players or they're big athletes, and they're making a play when they need to. They're right there. Their efficiency for when they get the ball has been excellent. They've been able to again manufacture and generate goals. At the end of the day, that's what counts, and they're hanging in there.
Credit Jaffin on the other side for being stout, because there was multiple chances for St. Bernard, and he did a great job keeping it to a 1-goal lead.
Yeah, he's made some big-time saves.
Here comes
Olsen again.
Bears.
He's
Olsen.
a shooter. Oh, good check.
Nice check from behind by Roan. And they'll play it back.
Love to see them clear this opposite the box side. A lot of times these teams, you've seen the high school level, they clear the box side. It's too jammed up over there. Really want to clear the ball away from the box where there's way more space. The other teams are trying to change off their guys. They don't want to play defense, and this is how you can create transition on the opposite side here.
There goes Brennick.
He's got a shorty on him right here.
St. Bernard's very deliberate. Stebbins behind the net. And Sawchuk.
Short stick on Sawchuk right now. Let's see if they empty out the crease. Oh, they're going to bring a pole in. I don't like that. See, they brought the pole in. He was able to get the switch.
Back again behind the net to Stebbins. They'll swing it right around to Howes. Tierney up top with Howes right now. McGugan on the far side with Howes, playing him for Stonington.
Looking to play the little two-man game there. Oh, he's in.
Stebbins finally gets one. Ezra Stebbins has been knocking on the door for most of this game. Finally gets one there to go and puts the Saints back on top. It's 4-3.
Great job by Stebbins, turning the corner right there, taking the extra step. A lot of times you'll see guys at this age, they'll fade when they shoot. He took the extra step and dunked that thing. Beautiful play.
8:31 remaining here in the second, and we are now 4-3. Saints on top of Stonington.
Feels like time of possession, though, very much on the side of, would you say it's very much on the side of, do you feel like it's on the side of St. B's here?
I feel like they've controlled a lot of the face-offs, although Light has made some adjustments and helped out here recently for Stonington. But yeah, I feel like offensively the possessions have been much more in favor of the Saints. Your point about the efficiency of Stonington is well taken. They have scored on their limited opportunities.
Would really like to see St. Bernard's here when let's see, we're going to have a whistle.
They're going to... Something's going on the officials are trying to figure out.
They have a clock issue maybe?
Definitely, I feel like there's a scoreboard issue. Because it should be 4-3 if I'm not mistaken. Should be 4-3 St. Bernard.
Yes.
And 8:31 remaining in the second. So I don't know what they're fixing, and they are in fact turning it off altogether and starting over. So maybe the clock was not running, but they'll figure it out. And while they do figure it out, we're going to take a very quick break. We'll be right back here from Stonington High School. You're watching Game Day Live on the
Communities that are no longer covered by local newspapers become news deserts that lack journalists providing government oversight and access to quality information. The Day is committed to providing comprehensive news coverage in every town in southeastern Connecticut, but we've had to scale back coverage in some towns, including Ledyard and North Stonington, due to market forces affecting local news companies around the country. We need the continued support of the communities we serve to help fund additional staffing that enables us to provide the kind of coverage our readers expect in every town in the region. If you'd like to support the Day's News Desert Fund, please visit givebutter.com/theday.
We're back from Stonington High School. Some scoreboard issues are trying to be resolved as we speak right now. In a 4-3 St. Bernard lead over Stonington, the officials are calling over because I think they're trying to figure out what the issue is. So for those of you that are watching right now, you are probably watching not live because we've been having some internet difficulties. I don't know if that's affecting what's going on with the scoreboard, but there seem to be technical problems here at Stonington High School across the board. And it's because Patrick McGugan's on the field right now, and he's not up here troubleshooting in the booth like he would be if the Bear Cave TV were broadcasting.
Yeah, Patrick, I believe he's going to Quinnipiac with the hopes of for communications. I think he wants to go down this road, and he's going to be looking to take your job.
I think what they were just saying, and I think they're saying they're going to keep it on the field. They're going to keep the time on the field, which adds even more fun to what's going on here.
So we're not going to have a graphic if they don't have a score. You just said that.
So there will not be a graphic up for a while if the scoreboard's not working. When the scoreboard comes back on, we'll have a graphic. In the meantime, I'll go radio style on you. 4-3, St. Bernard's with the lead and possession. There goes Sawchuck, and he tripped over his own line, if you will, lost the ball, but regains possession. In the front, in the middle, shot, and a goal! James Niles, 5-3, St. Bernard on top.
Yeah, kind of unfortunate and fortunate on that one. Unfortunate for Stonington, they're able to force Sawchuck, who's a big-time righty. They get him to go to his left hand, loses the ball. Unfortunately for Stonington, though, they jump a second man up to try to get the ball, and there was no help on the inside. The two slide didn't come in to help. Guys wide open, and they dunk it. But good on St. Bernard's for taking advantage and 5-3 here.
So just like it was moments ago, it was a 2-goal deficit. We saw Stonington rally to tie it up at 3. Now the Saints back on top 5-3. You can see with the jerseys whipping on the field that the wind is robust. The flag blowing straight out. And the Saints, as they have oftentimes today, working hard on the ground balls to gain possession. But this time, after all is said and done, Olsen cleans it up for Stonington.
Like to see Stonington see if they can push this ball a little bit. Oh, good shot there.
Brennick working on Griscom.
Yeah, he's a good player, man. Brennick, he's headed to Wentworth next year to play, and you can see it.
In front, and a beautiful save by Zach Huber. Cooper Light spins again. Odd angle shot, saves Zach Huber.
Good help defense there by St. B's.
Roan, long stick across the Sawchuck. And the Saints will settle into their offense up 5-3 here in the second period. Ground ball, across it goes. You don't see that often. Good way to avoid the wind.
It's interesting. Sawchuck's a righty, but he keeps finding himself on this right side of the field. There's another cut off side. They are not turning their heads right now on defense. They need to do a better job there.
Niles denied that time by Jaffin. And quick transition in the other direction now for Stonington. Like to see them convert one of those in transition. Olsen. Now they're working the ball around here. The Bears being a little more deliberate than we've seen them. Griscom heads to the middle. Looking, finds his teammate. Doorstep shot, and a goal. 5-4 Saints.
Yeah, they ran a little play there for Olsen. Came off a little curl action, got him to his right hand where they wanted it. It was interesting because I was watching him run the offense, and I was going to say, I'd really like to see some off-ball movement because they're not really putting any pressure on the defense in terms of the 2 and 3 slides and making it difficult to apply pressure. And sure enough, they were running a little play there. It worked well.
5-4. Saints on top. And we'll have our face-off right up front. Another ground ball and a whistle. Coming straight through, hard run was Howes. He dumps it off, and he gets it right back.
Let's see if well, Howes is going to go. He's going to go below the goal line here. They keep bringing a short stick to pick. Here it comes again. They've been playing some big, small stuff. They get this. Now they get the switch that they're looking for.
Ball is loose in front. Who's going to pick it up? Nice play. Putting it out wide for the Saints. Knocking it off the stick to Sawchuk. And he zips it across. He's looking for Howes, but that one had a little too much mustard on it, and it goes out, and it will be Stonington ball.
Yeah, that's a tough pass. Tough pass, cross-field pass in these conditions. That's a tough one.
So it's 5-4. St. Bernard on top. We are in the second period. No graphic because the scoreboard is down here at Stonington, and I will give you score updates as often as possible. 5-4 currently. The Saints are on top. Olsen.
Short stick on Olsen here.
This is where Olsen wants to make a move.
They're going to try to get the switch here. There it is.
So they switch over, put Maddox Roan, the long stick. And Olsen gives it up behind the net. Griscom swings it around. Delise.
St. B's looking to show off the crease perhaps here. Nobody's coming.
There's a space and a nice stick-to-stick contact sends that one wide and long. Saints doing a nice job there, but the Bears will maintain possession. 5-4, St. Bernard on top.
Awesome
but not
move.
for long, because that guy can score from anywhere at any time, and we are tied at 5 thanks to Kyle Olsen, who has been lights out. His efficiency on the offensive side of things has been spectacular. If he gets anywhere near the goal, he has put it in the net.
Yeah, he really prefers his right hand, but as you can see there, he can go to his left, and that's something that's a part of his game he's really developed that over the last year. That ability to go to the left hand is good to see.
Nice job that time. Cooper Light has started really doing a much better job on the faceoffs and getting Stonington some possession. St. Bernard had controlled much of the early possession. We have a timeout by Stonington as like before, they've rallied from a 2-goal deficit to tie things up at 5. Mm-hmm. We are late in the second period. I don't know exactly how long because the scoreboard's out here at Stonington, but we'll take a quick break. You're watching Game Day Live on theday.com. Last year, Waterford senior number 4 on the grade 8, the Olympico kick. I'm here with Cam Dickinson. I don't think she can pull it off. It looks way too hard. I think it was a fluke. Get it done.
I got it.
That was just too easy, and that is a grade 8 play. Send in your best plays and see if you can beat that and make this year's grade 8 Olympico style.
Relive a century of history from the perspective of southeastern Connecticut with the new hardcover book, Front Page News, a century of big stories in the day, 1881 to 1981. This 136-page limited edition book captures the pulse of a region and a nation, showcasing the day's most iconic front pages from its first 100 years. Order today at theday.frontpagesbook.com.
Hey, we're back, and so is the scoreboard. 5-5, St. Bernard and Stonington tied up here in the second period. 3:10 remaining, and it has been sort of an ebb and flow here where St. Bernard controlled early, got up 3-1. Stonington rallied to tie it at 3. The Saints popped 2 more goals to go up 5-3, and then Stonington has rallied to tie it at 5. The difference that I see from the layperson's perspective is Stonington has done a better job on the faceoff and controlling possession. They were giving up a lot of possession time to St. Bernard, which is not a way to maintain any sort of consistency, but they have done a much better job here maintaining possession. They have it now.
They do. I'll be curious to see. It looks like maybe a zone for St. B's here. So first time we're seeing their zone today. And as you can see, they do not pressure behind in their zone. So they run kind of a 3-3 zone. They don't pressure behind. And Kyle's going right through them all.
I'll tell you right now, I was about to say Olsen. That, you
Yeah,
know,
he didn't care.
you know, there was contact on both sides. He still managed to get a shot off.
That's right.
There will be space in the zone. There's one right there. Ripped. Shot. Goal. And Stonington on top 6-5 as Macklin Griscom rips the shot high over the top of Zach Huber. And the Bears on top for the first time today. It's 6-5.
Yeah, they're in that 3-3 zone. You get the ball to X and behind the net there. And the problem with when you don't pressure behind, that one guy can actually take the attention of all three of your low people in the 3 part of the zone. So you're actually having an advantage 5 versus 3 above it. And they have a guy sitting on the wing, which is right in between the two, in between the high and the low zone. And so he's able to step in with hands free there.
Light wins the faceoff. Gets it up early. Stonington had another good look. Olsen in front. And Cooper Light has really turned the tides with his faceoff work here in the second period.
No doubt. Momentum right now on Stonington's side here.
McBain. Griscom gets it back up top. And they'll look for Olsen to take advantage of those individual skills. Pivots, turns, looking to rip with the right hand. Now cuts inside and a nice check from the Saints, but back into possession. Griscom for.
I think St. Bernard's, they have to be careful. And the ball's up top, they're really ball watching. I think if McBain can sneak a little bit from X, I think he can get his hands free there to turn the corner a little bit. We'll see if they can find that. But they're going into a 1-4-1. The 1-4-1 works very well against this 3-3 zone.
And with the lead, they can afford to be patient as well.
No doubt. No shot clock here in high school, so there's an ability. And here's McBain, who has dropped that one, but he's been doing a pretty good job of being able to control the ball behind for them.
Ends up on the stick of Cooper Light. Light looking to rip with the right hand. Instead, he'll throw it back out. And the deliberate Bears trying to get a 2-goal lead. They are having their first lead of the game here at 6-5 as we're down a minute and change remaining here in the second.
Would love to see if they could do something up top here to get it over to the wing and get a second guy onto the crease. I think they can outnumber them there on the crease.
All right, so I'll give you. I'll
Nice job shutting off Olsen. Now Olsen gets a screen. Goes right off the screen, but he's picked up by 2 men. Sidesteps, maintains possession. Tough to do with that many sticks. Finally turns it over, and coming in the other direction now is Roan. Bash back to Roan, the long stick, save Jaffin!
Incredible save. You saw Roan there, right? That's where Roan can do it in transition. 14 leads that break. Tremendous play by Maddox.
In possession still, Sawchuk rips and scores! Mark Sawchuk with the laser beam ties us at 6.
Yeah, that was one of those situations. Great zone defense by St. Bernard's, leads the transition, and the tides turn again.
Only 14 seconds remaining in the period, and that is a tough one to swallow for Stonington. They were, after that brilliant save, they had a chance to clear and couldn't, and instead were tied at 6.
Yeah, and it goes back, I think, Casey, even before then, maybe a chance to set up a last shot, and instead they turn it over. They could have went into halftime at the very least up 6-5.
Heavy contact. Stonington comes out with it, but the whistle with 3 seconds remaining in the half.
Yeah, so it goes from Stonington having a 6-5 lead, possession of the ball. The other team's playing a zone, no shot clock, under no duress. Maybe hold for a last shot. Instead, there's a turnover up top, leads to a goal, face-off, and now a flag. And now I'm sure that St. B's will hold on to the ball. As long as they hold on to the ball here, as clock runs out, they'll start off with the man up to start the third quarter here.
So 3 seconds remaining here in the half of a 6-6 game. Whistle will blow, clock will start, and the Saints will hold on to the possession here. And they do as the horn sounds. We're at halftime. It's 6-6. The Saints and the Bears in a good one from Stonington High School. You're watching Game Day live on theday.com.
I was in 2nd grade when I started playing lacrosse. I switched to defense my sophomore year. I didn't play my freshman year because I tore my ACL during football. But during my sophomore year, we had not a lot of pulls, and I switched to pull and, became a starter the next year.
Really, it's his sophomore season. Yeah, you could see his athleticism is off the charts. He comes from an athletic family. He's a fantastic football player.
Massengale sidesteps, breaks a tackle, shows some speed, and gets a first down. Maddox Massengale.
Started playing football in 7th grade, and lacrosse, I think, is a lot more fun than football. No offense to football and my dad, but I like lacrosse a lot more.
He was a captain for the football team as well, and it translates right to lacrosse. And lacrosse isn't as physical as football, but you got to be ready for that and physicality. So he brings a lot of intensity to our practices, and he keeps everyone honest and keeps them driving in the right direction.
Max is definitely a very motivational teammate. He never judges. He doesn't get mad. He's always he's always here to help, make sure everyone's doing the right thing, staying focused. Make sure everyone's working together as a team. He just does a great job of making sure the defense as a whole is working together and doing what they're supposed to do. And
it's a very thankless job because you get blamed for everything if nothing goes right, and then the offensive guys get all the goals. So it really takes you have to be disciplined in how you approach it, and then just mentally ready to handle anything comes your way.
A lot of it's just technique, and you have to be athletic. It's not necessarily about how big you are, but how athletic, how skilled you are. And I think that's how our pulls are. Even though Pat and Ethan, they're big kids, they're also athletic.
A big part of it is communication, and Max is a great communicator. He's a vocal leader for our team, and he talks throughout all the plays, and he helps keep us in line when we're getting out of sorts on the defensive end. So that's what makes him very, very skilled and a very, very good defender.
1, 2, 3, Bears! 4, 5, 6, family!
He was born into it, so I played lacrosse at Connecticut College. I grew up in Massachusetts and played high school there. And then I played for Fran Shields at Connecticut College. And so Ben didn't really have much of a choice. So he's been playing since he was a little boy.
There's always that pressure that you feel, having your dad play a sport, having everyone think in your life that you're going to be good at it. But it's always been something I love, and when I'm down or I'm just not feeling well, I just go to the field and I feel a lot better just playing.
All right, let's go!
He and I in the backyard with his sister. He has an older sister. That's where the competition started, so when he was real little. We live in New London, and New London unfortunately doesn't have a youth team.
Yeah, at first it was a little difficult, but we went to East Lyme, and that was honestly great for us. We had a great team. I met a lot of cool kids I'm still good friends with today, and we're excited to play them this year.
Because of his passion, he has drawn a lot of his friends into it. So like I said, New London doesn't have lacrosse. They went to St. Joe's, and so he got a bunch of friends starting to play in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. And so I've had the privilege to be able to coach this group of kids that have all grown up with Ben.
We've been playing together. We've gone to school together since kindergarten. So we're really close, and we have a lot of chemistry. And since we had such a small team, starting as freshmen and playing all the way up to now, we've really gained a lot of skill, and now this year we're really excited because we're pretty good this year.
Because of the character that they are, they've drawn a lot of kids into the sport that had thought about it but they weren't sure. And so, for example, we've got some new sophomores and freshmen are playing, which is awesome. But we also have some juniors and seniors that are coming out for the first time just because they want to be part of it.
This year, our freshman, Skylar Wilson's little brother, died in a car accident, and we really just want to honor this season to him. And so we're just all going to play for Carson Wilson. So we all made shooter shirts that we're going to wear every single game to memorialize him. We're going to have patches on our jerseys and stickers on our helmets. And it's really good because all the Wheeler guys grew up with Carson, and so we're all here together. We're excited to play with him, but Sadly, we can't, so we're going to make the best we can of this season.
As voted on by you, it's time for the Athletes of the Future. Grade 8 Plays of the Winter. At number 8, a three-way tie. Jordan Murray, Ellis Tech Gymnastics on the vault. A near-perfect 9-8, taking first versus East Lyme. She was unreal. Jadalise Rivera, New London Basketball, beats the buzzer versus East Lyme. First team All-ECC. Thanks to TB860 for the video. Mikey Timpano, East Lyme, in OT versus Guilford, steal and the game winner at the buzzer. Mikey, we like it. East Lyme with the victory. At number 7, Gavin Jonash, Killingly Wrestling, freshman, in OT, wins the ECC 106-pound final. Went on to take third in Class S and help Killingly win a Class S team championship. The future incredibly bright for Jonash. At number 6, Braden Widener, Griswold Basketball, game-winning 3 at the buzzer to beat Rockville in the state quarterfinals. Thank you, ProVX Productions, and let's just listen. At number 5, Asia the Jet Harris, Wyndham Basketball, the great hands, the Jets, the steal, 16 points to lead the Whippets to the ECC Division II Championship. They got all the way back to the Sun thanks to plays like this. Harris, hands, and the Jets. At number 4, Tyler Mangual. Another great season for St. Bernard, but nothing was better than this. Buzzer beater, giving them the win over Notre Dame Prep. ECC champs, they went to number 1 in the state, finished the season ranked number 2. Mangual, the ECC All-Star. Thank you, Splash Productions. The Saints, once again showing why they know how to win. At number 3, Aiden Tennis, Bacon Academy, Eastern Connecticut Eagles hockey in overtime in the Nutmeg Conference semifinals. Get to the glass, get to the boards, get to the cheering section, get in there, celebrate the game winner from tennis. At number 2, Jack Grosso, Windsor Locks Basketball, down 1 versus St. Paul, gets the inbounds, he's gonna launch the long 3, got it! Grosso beats the buzzer, Windsor Locks start the celebration, sending St. Paul home with a defeat. But at number 1, Lucas Boxley, Ledyard Wrestling, Week 6 versus Staples. Spoiler alert, this made him 28-0. He went on to finish 49-1, the 120-pound ECC champ, New England champ, named Outstanding Wrestler in the New England Tournament. Boxley, by votes from you, that's the number 1 play of the winter. For a free week of training at Athletes of the Future. Congratulations to all our grade 8. Springtime grade 8s are coming up. Send us your plays and maybe you can get into the Athletes of the Future grade 8. Tonight's player of the game is brought to you by Roberto's Log Cabin Restaurant. Nestled in the woods of Lebanon, Connecticut, Roberto's Log Cabin is the cozy rustic home of comfort food. Family owned and operated, The Cabin, as it's fondly known, offers a diverse menu of hearty fare from burgers to the best ribs in the state. So come check out the Hallway of History in the newly renovated tavern, sample the diverse menu, get your craft beers and cocktails, all while watching your favorite sports on one of their 10 TVs. Stop in, see Rob and the crew, and tell them Game Day sent you. Player of the game by Roberto's Log Cabin Restaurant. We're back at Stonington High School. A fabulous first half between the Stonington Bears and the St. Bernard Saints as Game Day has kicked off our spring coverage here. Casey O'Neill with Dave Cornell. Coach, impressions of the first half?
It's really been a tale. I'd like to say a tale of 2 games, but I feel like it's been a tale of like 4 games. I feel like the ebbs and flows have been crazy. If you had talked to me after the first 4 or 5 minutes, I thought Stonington would be in trouble. But again, they were efficient on the opportunities that they had, and it kept them in the game. And now they figured it out a little bit at the face-off X. We talked about that being a question mark for both teams coming in, and Cooper Light's done a pretty good job, I think, of getting them back in. Again, tough kid, state champion in wrestling, I think, this year. So, and he's scrapping out there and showing it. And so I'm really curious to see big man up to start off immediately here for St. Bernard's. I think the end of the half there. Again, Stonington had the ball, could have held for a last shot, turned the ball over, led to the tying goal. The face-off led to a flag down. They get the ball, so a big momentum swing there. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, I think Cooper Light has really changed the tenor of the game with not only a bunch of face-off wins, but he has turned those into possession for Stonington, where in the beginning of the game, St. Bernard dominated possession. They were not only winning face-offs, they were getting ground balls and getting into their scoring chances earlier. I still think I still think Stonington is trying to figure out how they want to approach Mark Sawchuk and his dominance with the ball. But to your point, after that brilliant save by Jaffin, Stonington is 14 seconds away from heading into halftime, not only with the lead, but with, instead they're now tied and they're going to be a man down. So, second half underway. Sawchuk quickly over to Howes. Back to Sawchuk. He has been so good in front with great vision. And I like the aggressive play from Jaffin there, coming out to make that save.
Yeah, it was a good design play by St. Bernard's. They emptied out the crease and put the second guy in there looking for that cutter, but Jaffin read it.
Look at Cooper Light seeking contact. We said earlier, takes a special kind of person to not only absorb contact, but enjoy it on a day like today. He was seeking it out there, and Stonington has the possession now in this 6-6 game.
St. B's going back into their zone again, so we'll see if Stonington thinks they can figure this out here. Again, they went to a 1-4-1 a little bit in the first half, and it looked good. Now they're trying to dodge it. That's not gonna cut it over there. It's not a good matchup for them, I don't think.
Saints had it, turned it right back over again, and here comes Stonington.
This could be trouble if he gets to the middle of the field.
Olsen's been so good, spins. Thought he was going to try to get a quick one off, but instead they'll reset the offense. And a nice save as Zach Huber really not threatened with that one.
No, I think a better decision there for Stonington to kind of settle it down to step their zone. St. B's was able to get into their zone immediately, so there was no unsettled situation really to be had there.
Brennick turned it over as a little miscommunication between he and Tierney. And now coming the other way, Stonington. Quick shot. And Zach Huber is there on his line. He'll come off. And they'll run out of the midfield now with Niles.
Yeah, these have been 3 empty possessions in a row right now for Stonington. Between that last possession of the first half and then these first 2, not the shots we're really looking for against such a good goalie.
Back in the middle of things now to Sawchuk, where he has been so dangerous. Back behind the net, Stebbins has been a bit of a menace back there for the Saints as well.
Again, I find it interesting. Sawchuk, he keeps going to the right side, even though he's a righty. I'd like to see him come over to the left. He's starting to come over to the left now for a little pick, because I'd like to see him be able to get the ball so we could get to his right hand to get across the middle.
Howes recognized it. They covered up Sawchuk well, though. Stonington will earn the possession in McGugan from behind the net.
Again, would love to see them. As you can see, you can't. It might be tough to tell for the fans watching, but on camera. But it's clear St. B's wants those middies to get their offensive middies to get off the field and not play defense. And so they're substituting from the bot to the box, and the easiest way to clear that ball is to go opposite the box side, and maybe they could try to push it in transition. But Stonington looks just happy to clear the ball, and let's see if they can get a good possession here.
Bears, 6-6, 8:45 remaining here in the third. Good contact up top as Light passes it off. And now behind the net, they'll work with McBain. Shot ripped wide. It'll stay with Stonington.
Same thing again, kind of getting it to X. That one man at X is able to occupy the three low guys in the zone. They're pushing the right pipe and looking to the wing for the shot. I'd like to see if they're going to stay in the zone. They have Olsen right now in on the crease. I wouldn't mind seeing him as they start to move the ball a little bit to maybe pop off to the backside to get his hands free so he can shoot it.
Christina for the Bears. High up top it goes. Light shoots. No good, and coming out of it. Transition opportunity here for the Saints. Hard run made by Noonan. And Noonan looking for Stebbins. And missed opportunity that time for the Saints.
Stonington fortunate right there because this is probably the third time I've seen this happen where it's maybe a 4-on-3, and though it's a break for St. B's, the low defender for Stonington is charging 20 yards up the field to stop ball, leaving a guy wide open in front of the net. They just have not been able to connect on that pass.
Brennick played it back to the keeper, Zach Huber. Saints looking good across the midfield. Brennick did a nice job getting that started. Now it's in the hands of the skill guys that like to put the goals away. They've done it 6 times today as we're tied at 6. And this guy right here, Mark Sawchuk, a big reason for the Saints.
See if St. B's looks to kind of empty out that crease again. They've been doing a good job off the ball in terms of moving moving the defenders around. So off ball, when the other team is getting there, when the defense is getting set up for their 1 slide, you really want to put the 2 and 3 slide into a situation.
Sawchuk. Every second it's on his stick. It's a scoring threat. Back it goes to Niles. Howes looking for a screen from Niles. Instead heads to his left, now spins back right. Trying to get a little bit of
good help defense.
Cooper Light banging with.
Flag down.
I think they're going to get a shove on.
I think it might be a slash. I'm not sure.
Howes was getting knocked around a little bit. We'll see what the. So it will be a penalty against Stonington. The Saints in a 6-6 game here with 6:20 in the third, looking to break the tie, get back on top. They've owned the lead for almost the entire game. They've only trailed briefly.
Going to an open set here. We'll see if we get somebody cutting into the crease here, but
Stonington pressuring the ball here on Tierney. Now Sawchuk. Howes.
That's going to be trouble there.
Very patient here for the Saints.
Like to see Sawchuk after he gives step in. There it is. Oh.
And just wide as Jaffin was there. Saints hustle.
Howes and Sawchuk playing catch over here, putting this top guy into a situation as a man down. Would just like to see them after they make that pass to step in to get the pass back for the shot.
Stebbins had that one go off the side. He's looking for Sawchuk. Sawchuk fakes, rips, and a save, Jaffin.
Like to see them go here, 3-on-3. This guy, he's a big lefty, strong lefty.
Christina in front. Shot. And a goal! Macklin Griscom puts the Bears on top 7-6.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to do there. Great outlet by Jaffin. Christina gets it, and they're off to the races. Even though they're a man down, they've turned it to a 3-on-3 situation from 50 yards to the net. You can't ask for that's way better than playing 6-on-6 from 20 yards out. So outstanding job by Stonington to recognize that and to push the tempo.
5:20 remaining here in the third. Back in McCusker for the Saints. He and Cooper Light have been battling these face-offs here. Light has had the better of it over the past period. But that time, McCusker stood toe-to-toe with Light, and the ground ball comes out.
Howes another ground ball off of the face-off. I don't know how many he's had, but it's been a lot.
Yeah, you mentioned he's got a real head for that. He's been attacking it early on. We saw it happen 2 or 3 times. Now it's back in an important part for the Saints because they have never trailed by more than a goal and have not trailed for very long. There's Howes. Now they've moved Stebbins, who had been behind the net most of the game, out, and they put Howes back there. Just wide. There's the aforementioned Howes to Stebbins to Sawchuk. Nice job in front, and a save made by Jaffin.
I don't know how many saves Jaffin has, but it's starting to add up.
Gavea had him, had a good look right in front that time, but Jaffin stood his ground. Another save by Jaffin. And the Bears try to play it back through. Howes intercepts in front, has his man, and a goal! James Niles on a beautiful look from Howes after the Bears turned it over in their own end, and we're tied at 7.
Yeah, tough play there. Ground ball, Stonington had it. Thought he had maybe a look, an open look opposite. Kind of forced the ball in there. Great ride by St. Bernard's, and again they capitalized. And those are kind of the goals that Stonington was scoring in the first half, right? They again manufacturing goals, and we're tied again here.
7-all, 3:52 remaining in the third period. Every face-off becomes more and more important. McCusker and Light to do battle here. Ball's loose. Who's going to come up with it? My money's on Howes.
Yeah.
He's had the majority of them. And he picks up that one.
And we have a winner.
Oh, and he takes a shot, but he gets right back up. Turns it over, and the Bears coming the other direction now.
He's got him open in front. Like to see him push it again here.
There's Christina. Just off the mark. Looking for Olsen now. See the speed.
Don't charge upfield. We charged upfield.
Stebbins was on the doorstep, couldn't get it to go. Gavea chases it down.
Again, this defense for Stonington, they get back in their 4v3. They should be in a tight triangle, but they're sliding from that low pipe guy up, and he's sliding awfully far.
There's Sawchuk now. 3 minutes remaining in a tie ball game in the third.
Waiting to see Sawchuk actually go one-on-one. Here we go. I'd like to see him go one-on-one against these shorties a little bit.
Nice pass in front. Gavea couldn't get a clean shot off. It was deflected and tipped by the Bears. Stebbins maintains the possession, though, for the Saints. Quick moving third period. 1 goal each. 2:30 remaining. And a whistle.
Yep, Red's in the crease. Niles stepped in the crease.
So 2:25, the Bears will have possession. McGugan sends it to the middle.
This could be something here.
Christina in front, shoots, bounces it over the net.
Good take by Christina. Again, very strong lefty. If he lowers his shoulder and tries to get into the middle of the field, it's going to be very difficult to stop. It was a good read by him.
Shot sails high again off of Olsen. And McBain will keep it in play for the Bears. There's McBain. There's Cooper Light now up top. Cooper Light rips, and it's wide, but it'll stay here as McBain is back there for the Bears, as we're down to 1:48 remaining here in the third.
Again, I'd love to see some sort of action here where they carry and maybe pop Kyle Olsen off the crease to the perimeter to see if he can get him his hands free.
Shot deflected. In front, spinning, looking, and wide. But the Bears, hustling, will keep possession. Christina goes to the strong side left. Gets a crease, spins, keeps possession, and a save, I think, by Zach Uber without realizing he made the save. That one hit him. But the Bears owning possession here. They've had it for 3 minutes.
Yeah, they're really dodging again. I'm all for dodging against the zone, but they really need some off-ball movement to see if, you get to you'd love to be able to get across the middle and then look to skip that ball opposite. They need a little bit more movement off ball against this zone.
Christina goes back to his left, up top to Light. Now Griscom.
Love to see a little carry up here and see if we could spike Olsen off to the wing.
And just wide from Christina. Possession stays with Stonington. McBain with 28 seconds remaining here in the third.
So kind of a similar situation that we had at halftime. We'll see how Stonington attacks this right now. Do they hold for a last shot, or are they going to keep going? Great move.
In front, shot and a save, Zach Uber. A chance for the Saints as the clock ticking down with 10 seconds remaining in the third.
Got to be careful with the ball here.
I think we're going to let this one slide down to the end of 3. Horn sounds. We're tied at 7. Fourth quarter coming up. You're watching Game Day live on theday.com.
Communities that are no longer covered by local newspapers become news deserts that lack journalists providing government oversight and access to quality information. The Day is committed to providing comprehensive news coverage in every town in southeastern Connecticut, but we've had to scale back coverage in some towns, including Ledyard and North Stonington, due to market forces affecting local news companies around the country. We need the continued support of the communities we serve to help fund additional staffing that enables us to provide the kind of coverage our readers expect in every town in the region. If you'd like to support the Day's News Desert Fund, please visit givebutter.com/theday.
Nothing like a tie game going into the fourth, and that's what we have here as the Saints and the Bears locked up in a very good game, 7-all. It's been back and forth, no team taking control. As many times as the Saints looked to have control, the Bears rallied, and every time the Bears got on top, the Saints rallied. So these two teams poised to do battle here in the fourth.
Yeah, it's been a very interesting game to watch, and the strategy-wise from both coaches and the adjustments and those sort of things that have been going on. Would really like to see Stonington. They have Kyle Olsen a lot of time has been kind of stuck on the crease in their zone offense, and he's got a hammer, man. That guy can shoot it from the outside. I'd love to see them find a way to pop him to the perimeter to get his hands free to shoot it out of some ball movement. We'll see if they try to do that here in the fourth quarter. But ground balls right now, ground balls, face-offs, and that's going to decide this game right now. I have no doubt in my mind about that. Possession And efficiency on offense. Got to take advantage. Stonington did a great job where they looked like just some little unsettled thing, and they took a 3-on-3 and just went from midfield and attacked and were able to, again, manufacture goals. Great job by Jaffin right now in the net as well. Both goalies have been outstanding.
This late, this early in the season, late in the game, is where all the off-season conditioning comes into play. You're never quite ready for how exhausted a cold day like this. It saps a lot out of you. So these kids are going to be, using what they did in the off-season to sustain them through a very physical fourth period. Ground ball worked on and finally controlled by Bodie Brennick. And he gets it to the playmaker, Sawchuk. If you slept in January, you're feeling it right now. If you're one of those kids that was up at 5, working out before school, doing those double sessions in the winter, you might have a little juice left. Because right now it's cold and it's tiring. And this game, with 11 minutes remaining, is looking for somebody to take control of it.
Again, a lot of times I'm looking at these teams, they're clearing the ball up the substitution box side. It's tough over there. Got to watch it over there.
Long pass on the ground now. That was kind of a wing and a prayer. Stonington comes out of it, though, with the ball.
Yeah, they need a possession right now. Pull it out. Let's take a breath here.
Yeah, I think you said it. Get it into the hands of number 6, if possible. Olsen, give him a clean look. It's been a while since he's had a clean look in front.
Yeah.
There he is, on cue. Thank you for making me look like a prognosticator. Kyle Olsen with the goal puts the Bears on top 8-7 with 10:08 remaining in the fourth. He only needs a step, and he only had a step there, but he capitalized, and he has been dynamite for the Bears today.
You know, it's interesting. I don't believe at that time that Stonington even had their full 6 guys on the field to play offense, but that sometimes lulls the defense to sleep, right? The defense sets up in their 3-3 zone. They're anticipating Stonington to get their guys on the field and to get organized, and all of a sudden you go and your help defense isn't ready to rock there, and he beats him to the inside. He only needs a step to get his right hand free, so great job by Kyle Olsen.
Now, as we tick down, 10 minutes is an eternity, but a 2-goal lead can really feel like a big cushion. So the Bears, we'll see if they can turn it on here, try to get that elusive 2-goal lead. The Saints have had an answer every time that Stonington has taken the lead today. Light and Niles, James Niles, and that's Niles winning the faceoff that time. A much-needed faceoff win for the Saints. Now Gavea in front, and a goal just like that. Stebbins puts it away. What ball movement from Niles to Garea to Stebbins, and that is how you tie things up.
By the way, we just talked about it on the other side where it was maybe a 5v6. That was a 4 versus 6, right? So St. Bernard's won the face-off. They only had 4 guys on the field. They were subbing a couple guys off. 6 players back for Stonington, but it's an unsettled situation. Who's got who's got a man, and they ball watch, and a guy gets backdoored, and they take advantage of it. A 4v6 they scored on there.
It was a huge face-off win from Niles, but credit Gavea with vision to make that cross-field pass to Stebbins in stride. And there's ground ball win from the Bears.
Here's another situation here. We'll see if they attack. They're going to pull it out, it looks like, though. Nope, maybe not.
Back to full strength now. Everybody's on the field that's supposed to be. Bears will settle in as we're tied up at 8 again.
Again, staying in that zone. And if you look right now with him with the ball behind, if you look, all three of the low defenders for St. Bernard's they're all staring at the ball. So they're the back of their heads. They don't see the five guys behind them. So that's one of the interesting parts about this zone. But tough feed there.
Oh, Zach Huber finds Howes. Middle of the field. Howes turns, looking for room, finds it, shoots, and a beautiful save, but the rebound put away by Stebbins. And just like that, the Saints back on top as the diminutive Ezra Stebbins in the right spot. Back-to-back goals by him has gotten the Saints back on top by one.
Again, unsettled, right? It was an unsettled play. Great job. They pushed it. Howes did a good job of pushing an offense and creating some offense. Gets to the middle, shot. Awesome save. First awesome save, but tough ground ball in front. They pick it up and they dunk it. But unsettled lacrosse has been kind of the story here recently.
New face-off in for the Bears. Zahari in to take the face-off as he went up against Niles, and Niles did a great job. Ground ball picked up and taken by Tierney.
Better watch your own cutting there.
Now Gavea. I mentioned the 2-goal lead that Stonington was seeking. Now the Saints are in possession and in position with possession to get a 2-goal lead themselves.
If they hurry, they got a man advantage. It's a bad change by Stonington. Oh, and a turnover.
Niles was cutting to the net but couldn't quite get it. Ball's loose in the middle. Who's going to come up with it? These ground balls mean everything.
Right now, who wants it? Who wants that ground ball right now?
Maddox Massengale came out of it, but we got a timeout from Stonington. So it's 9-8 St. Bernard with 7:56 remaining. Timeout on the field. We'll take a quick timeout. You're watching Game Day live on theday.com.
Here at Game Day, we're proud to bring you unrivaled video coverage of local high school sports, all of it free for you to watch. These videos are not free for us to produce them. If you'd like to ensure that we can keep covering your school and your teams, there's a few ways that you can support us. Hit up our merch store and pick up some Game Day gear in your school colors. Our camera operators are always looking for those shirts and hoodies in the crowd, and you may see yourself on our next live stream. We get a lot of support from businesses in our community. And if you'd like to join them as a sponsor, send us a message and we can connect you with our advertising staff. Finally, The Day is the organization behind everything we do here at Game Day. If you want to support The Day's community journalism, consider a print or digital subscription at theday.com/subscribe.
Tickets.
9-8. The St. Bernard Saints have come back multiple times, and so have the Stonington Bears. But right now, the Saints' latest comeback, back-to-back goals from Ezra Stebbins, have the Saints with just under 8 minutes remaining here in the ballgame on top by 1 goal. Casey O'Neill, along with the coach Dave Cornell. And what have you seen just from the grit and determination from both sides here? No team able to really take control of this game.
Well, I think conditions are playing into it. I think they're tired. I think nerves are kicking in a little bit right now, to be honest with you. Both teams looking for their first win. I think Coach Doyle right there was sensing that ground ball. You probably want to hold on to your timeout a little longer, but you could see he's sensing that could have been a big possession. He didn't want to fall down by 2 and said, hey, even with 8 minutes left, I'm gonna burn one of these timeouts right now. We need a possession, and we need to get back on track here and settle it down.
Olsen's been the man they've gone to in situations like this. Let's see if they try to get him a touch.
I would look to maybe get it behind and push that pipe and get Olsen's hands free on the wing over here.
Makes the move. Now he'll operate from the top. Long stick, Roan on him. Back behind the net, it goes. That's McBain. Stonington being deliberate, down a goal. It's very important they get a good offensive set ideally a really good shot. And they had a chance with Cooper Light in front, but instead a turnover going the other direction, Bodie Brennick.
Good idea, just couldn't connect. Again, they got across the middle there and got the rotation. They pop a guy off to the wing and try to flood the zone over there, just drop the ball.
Sawchuk.
Be interesting to see how St. Bernard's handles the situation right now. 6:30, still a lot of time left, but we'll see if they start to take a little bit of time on some of these possessions.
Stebbins. Nice check, loses it. Picked up by the Bears.
Yeah, I guess that time of possession maybe on that might have been about a 20-second possession maybe, right? So, and it's going to create offense maybe the other end.
6 minutes remaining here in the ball game. Saints on top, 9-8. Macklin Griscom with the ball, and he passes it off. And behind the net it goes to McBain. Oh, they had a look. Ground ball's out and rolling, picked up. And heading in the other direction, Luke Noonan. Now into the steady hands of Ben House.
Coming up on 5 minutes here, Casey. Would really like to see a possession.
House being super deliberate.
Again, no shot clock here in high school lacrosse. The referees could put a stall on you if you do. If they do that, you're going to have to keep possession within the restraining box. So you want to be able to try to maybe run your offense here. There's even a time where you may want to purposely shoot the ball wide on purpose so the referees think you're going to the goal and don't put the stall on you.
House lost it for a moment, but it's kept in by Sawchuk. He's going to come and get the ball from Niles. Niles instead offs it. Goes in the other direction, back to House.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see if St. Bees runs a couple possession shots. And when I say possession shots, again, you're purposely shooting the ball wide just so you can maintain possession, but you let the officials think that you're actually attacking. Big move there by House.
Out of nowhere! What a goal from Ben House! Nobody saw it, including me. 4:09 remaining. Saints on top, 2.
Yeah, big. Your playmakers make plays, and Howe's doing a great job right there. He's made some big plays today between the ground balls and a couple tough goals, but that was a big one. 2-goal lead with 4 minutes left right now, and Stonington's going to have to try to manufacture some guts right now to make the comeback here.
Starts with the faceoff. Jay Sahari. Zahari got it to a ground ball, and no one can pick it up. This is where that fatigue comes in. Who's going to get it? And they're going to whistle McGugan. Officials say my time. See what the call is.
I think they were possibly saying there was no release off of the face-off, so there was no possession called, so the guys can't leave the substitution box, and I think maybe they thought one of the guys did, but I don't know if they're calling an inadvertent whistle or not, because I'm not so sure that he actually did leave the restraining box.
So they're going to give the Bears possession, it looks like.
Yeah. I'm going to guess maybe that was it, and then it went to an alternate possession call and gave possession back. But I don't know for a fact.
Olsen had a chance. It's loose. The Saints. Nobody can really hold on. That time Roan kept it. And they'll play through the middle. There goes Brennick. Bodie Brennick, good wheels. Off to Sawchuk. That's the guy you want with the ball. 3 minutes, 20 seconds remaining here in the ball game. Saints on top 2. And an unfortunate, unnecessary, and uncharacteristic turnover as Niles was expecting it on one shoulder and Sawchuk put it on the other shoulder, and now the Bears have possession with a chance. 3 minutes and change remaining here, down 2. Turnover the other direction. Gavea, Sawchuk, goal! Saints! Gavea to Sawchuk. 3-goal lead, St. Bernard on top.
Yeah, that was an interesting 15, 20 seconds right there, right? It looked like St. Bees was in complete control there with the 2-goal lead, the ball. They throw it away. Stonington gets the gift of getting the ball back, and they gave it right back.
Little hot potato action. Neither team wanting to take advantage, but huge for the Saints. 3-goal lead with 3 minutes remaining. A lot to ask. And now the Saints can eat clock.
I think I'm hearing a yellow call. If I'm hearing a yellow call, that's usually a call, and for them to slow the ball down a little bit and get a possession. And let's see if we get a timeout here. And it looks like we do.
So timeout on the field. 2:43 remaining. The Saints have ripped off goal after goal. They've come back from down 2. They're now up 3. We'll be right back with the final 2:43. You're watching Game Day live on day.com.
Last year, Waterford senior number 4 on the grade 8, the Olympico kick. I'm here with Cam Dickinson. I don't think she can pull it off. It looks way too hard. I think it was a fluke. Get it done.
I got it.
That was just too easy, and that is a grade 8 play. Send in your best plays and see if you can beat that and make this year's grade 8 Olympico style.
Relive a century of history from the perspective of southeastern Connecticut with the new hardcover book, Front Page News, a century of big stories in the day, 1881 to 1981. This 136-page limited edition book captures the pulse of a region and a nation, showcasing the day's most iconic front pages from its first 100 years. Order today at theday.frontpagesbook.com.
.243 remaining here in the ball game. St. Bernard on top, 11-8. And this has been a wild game as the Saints jumped out early, maintained a 2-goal lead multiple times. Stonington rallied each and every time and even took their own lead on 3 different occasions, only to see St. Bernard come roaring back, I believe, with 5 straight goals.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Stonington does. They're going to have to really force it right now, right? They're going to have to. They have McGugan on ball. We'll see if St. Bees is going to keep the ball in houses. They like his speed, I'm sure. So we'll see if they're going to keep it in his hands. If he goes below the goal line, once they step it in the box under 2 minutes, they're going to have to keep it in the box.
McGugan working hard on Howes. Now Howes gets it to Stebbins. Stebbins is going to get it out to Sawchuk. And the clock just tantalizing right now as the Bears need to find a way to get a possession in front. And a beautiful job. Stebbins knew exactly what to do. He gets it back out to Howes.
Yeah, if I was Howes, I would even step it outside the box up top, because you don't have to. It's once you step it in under 2, so technically you could keep it outside the box as long as you want.
Howes.
I would not be shooting. I would not be shooting the ball here, Casey. I don't know what they called here.
Well, Stonington's going to get the ball. 1:50 remaining. They're going to need a quick goal and then hope the face-offs can go their way. What do we get the call here? Timeout on the floor, on the field?
I think Stonington may have called a timeout there.
All right, so Stonington uses a timeout. 1:50 remaining here, 1:49 to be exact. in the game. What does Stonington need to do here, and how much time can they afford to use?
Well, number one, I think if I'm St. B's, I'm gonna stay in that zone. I'm not gonna go to man right now. If they go to man, I'd spread it out. I'd just give the ball to Olsen and just say you gotta go. So I'm gonna make them make as many passes as possible just to kill some time by staying in that zone. They have an excellent goalie who's been handling most of the outside shots. So if I'm Stonington, I'm probably gonna put Olsen on the crease. I'm going to have either my wing guy carry it and maybe carry up top and throw back to him, popping off to catch it for a right-handed shot in the wing, or my top center guy maybe to carry and see if we can get Olsen popped off. But, that's where I'm looking right now. And I'm sure that's St. B's is probably thinking the same thing.
So it starts, if you're the Bears, it starts with needing to score relatively quickly.
Yeah, there's no time to waste right here. Like you need to have a quick one hitter to go to here.
And that's the guy I want with it, Olsen. And they can't afford to let opportunities like that go by the boards. He had a good look. He's going to keep trying, I'm sure. Great job by Zach Huber stepping in, making the save. And that is a huge change of possession here for the Saints.
Now they have 20 seconds to get it over the midfield, so they want to take control of that time, and again, tough one here.
Bad turnover, keeping the Bears' hopes alive with 1:19. Bears desperately need a goal, and there's a bad turnover on the other side if it gets out, and it does. And the Saints now with 1:08 remaining, and they're going to give it away. Somebody needs to take possession of this, literally and figuratively. Massengale. And another whistle.
I think there was an offsides there on Stonington, and I think both coaches really, there's a lot of teachable moments here when they get to watch this film of how to close out games and those sort of things, that just a lot of empty possessions and turnovers early in the season. These are the things you see a lot of times early in the year. It's going to be a lot of teachable moments from the film here.
Sawchuk maintaining possession. Clock now down to 42 seconds. Now Howes. Good senior group here for the Saints. Have led this team to the victory that they are 30 seconds away from claiming. Nifty pass. Sawchuk will take it. Clock now under 20 seconds remaining. Gavea rips it wide, but the possession will stay with the Saints with 13 seconds.
Yeah, very hard-fought game today. But at the end of the day, I believe I believe the better team won today. At least, I'm not saying they're the better team overall, but today I think they were the better team.
I would agree. 5 seconds remaining, 4 seconds remaining, and the horn sounds, an 11-8 victory. The St. Bernard Saints get their first win of the year. Stonington falls to 0-2. We will have interviews with head coach Dave Howes as well as the Roberto's Log Cabin Player of the Game Day, which we will have shortly. Want to thank Coach Cornell for coming in and dropping some lacrosse knowledge on us. We appreciate your time. Thanks for being with us today.
Oh, it was my pleasure. It was awesome, and appreciate the invite. A lot of fun.
St. Bernard's with an 11-8 victory. You're watching Game Day live on theday.com.